Disclaimer. I figured it's been too long for me to not give an update on this story, so I'm going to show you what I have so far, as I'm not sure if I'll ever finish it. This video is not about Raitana. It's about my rewrite of Muffins only. This is not a drama video, or a critique about the original Muffins. I do not care about Raitana or what happens in her life because I'm not one of her friends, family members, therapists, or orbiters. I'm a stranger on the internet who has my own life and my own interests and my own worries. I've not watched her content regularly since 2018, and I'm not interested in picking it back up, unless it's Muffins or Diary of a Serial Killer or something, because I grew up with those stories. The only reason I'm rewriting Muffins is because I love it and want it to be well written because it has potential, and the author has had some problematic behavior. I'm not doing this to spite her or whatever. I simply feel like the characters deserve to be in a good story. I don't care if it was a Vince story. If she didn't want it to be critiqued as a fanfic, she shouldn't have posted it online. Even if you've never read Muffins or know nothing about the drama, my stories still make sense, even when Raitana's OC show up. I'm not obsessed with her, Muffins, or the drama, even when Muffins becomes one of my autistic hyperfixations, which is quite rare. The Anti-Ray Place subreddit has been closed for years. It's the same if someone were to rewrite FNAF or Yandere Simulator. If you disagree with any of this, then this video is not for you, and I'm not interested in what you have to say. Do not comment anything related to drama, or I will delete it. Criticism of either OG Muffins or Muffins Remastered is fine as long as you're civil. I'm not associated with Isaac, Vlad/Razor, Nothing is Scary, Kara Mendoza, Mandy, or anyone else. Never have, never will be. I don't even watch any of their content either because, again, I don't care. I just want to write fanfics, make fanart, and be left alone. Hello, everyone. Yeah, so as you can see, this is my, Muffins Remastered chapters. Don't get too excited because, like, only one of these is finished, and it's the first one, which I have already uploaded to AO3, and I will leave a link in the description. As for the other ones, some of them have writing, but a lot of them don't. I do have summaries for most of them, so I figured since it's going to take a long time for me to finish this, I would just show you some previews. Okay. I'm very particular about fonts in Google Drive. I need to sneeze. Yeah, so as you can see, there's this big, massive summary. I asked one of my friends to help me write. I'm not really sure what the ending of the story is gonna be. I have a few ideas in mind, but I don't know. I kind of lost my steam to write for anything Muffins related, because, I don't know, I'm just not really as interested in torture-style stories anymore, even if it does have more of a plot than the original Muffins. Okay, so I should mention, you know what, I'll mention that later, never mind. Okay. Despite her parents' best efforts, 4-year-old Pinkie Mina still seems to turn out like her grandmother. Okay, by this point, okay, in chapter 1, Minkie Pie got put in a basement. Not the cellar, an actual basement. 4-year-old Pinkie Mina still seems to turn out like her grandmother, who she still has yet to meet. One day, a swarm of brown, brightly colored bug creatures invades the farm, only for the currently visiting Fairy Cake to reveal that this isn't the first time Paris sprites have swarmed the farm, and that she needs to lead them away with music before they can eat everything in sight. Okay, I think I based this on a headcanon on Tumblr that I found, where the reason the rock farm looks so barren is because of Paris sprites. I don't know if I just used it as inspiration, or I was actually implying that Paris sprites destroyed the farm. The reason I don't remember this shit is because I've been working on this since 2021, and yeah, I just don't remember half the summaries. As they don't have any instruments, the family is concerned their farm will be destroyed, until Fairy randomly pulls a flute out of her mane and starts leading the Paris sprites away. Okay, so my design for Granny Pie is this pink Pegasus with white swirly hair that looks like cupcake icing, and it also has like sprinkles in it. And she is the mother of... Okay, she's the mother of Igneous Rock and Mrs. Cake. The family... Okay. Pinkie Mina's admiration for her grandmother skyrockets, which annoys her parents. That night, when trying to get a glass of water, the filly gets spooked by a pile of formal dresses she forgot to put away on the rocking chair in the living room. She runs back down the hall to her bedroom, waking Fairy Cake in the process. Did I mention she was a Pegasus? Thus, fairy. So, yeah. And Fairy Cake is another word for cupcake, I believe. She finds the filly hiding underneath her pillow and asks her what happened. Pinkie Mina claims to have seen a monster in the living room, and to her surprise, Fairy toughens up and says she'll protect her when they go see it for themselves. Reluctantly, Pinkie Mina follows her grandmother into the living room, gasping and cowering when the mayor walks up to the pile of clothes and reveals that it's not a sentient creature. See, Pinkie? It's nothing to fear. Darkness can make things scarier than they really are. But you gotta stand up tall and just, well, laugh. Pinkie Mina questions her on the matter, and Fairy responds that it always works for her and that she should try it the next time she's scared. After Pinkie Pie witnesses a rainbow explosion shortly after her 9th birthday and throws a party for her family, the parents' original plan to bring her down to Earth like the rest of them backfires completely. Pinkie spends a bit of time coaxing Maud away from a book and convincing her to come to the party. I should mention that Maud is Minkie's twin. And then Marble and Limestone are twins, which are younger, and that's what causes Minkie to get put into the basement. And then Pinkie is, of course, the youngest Pie. Pinkie spends a bit of time coaxing Maud away from a book and convincing her to come to the party. Shortly after earning her cutie mark, the younger Pie asks her mother to pinky promise that she and the rest of the family will keep their spirits from now on. Keep up their spirits. And in the heat of the moment, Cloudy Quartz actually agrees, using the words pinky promise and everything. After the party, Igneous comes to his senses and not only scolds Pinkie for getting a cutie mark that isn't related to rocks, but beats the shit out of her for it too. I forgot that happened. When Cloudy notices that her daughter is bleeding, berry juice, I might add, like in Isaac's old story, last I checked, he said anyone could use that idea, and I thought it was cool, so I did. She steps in between the two and shields her daughter. Pinkie's hair deflates, and she silently retreats to her bedroom, not speaking another word for the rest of the day, and hiding under the bed when her sisters try to call her down for dinner. When Pinkie accidentally bumps her wound against something, she winces and inspects it, shocked to find out that her blood is a similar shade of pink to her hair. She ends up licking it, finding that it is incredibly sweet. It's fruit-like, even. I don't know if that should be one word or hyphen. Minutes later, Marble enters the room to clean her up and bandage her wounds, giving her an ice pack for her bruises. She offers to stay with Pinkie, but the younger filly shakes her head, wishing to be alone. I based Marble on how she acts as a filly in Muffins. You know, specifically her cutie mark story, where she's, I don't know how to describe it. She's, like, less bitchy and more mature than Pinkie Pie, I guess. The following morning, Pinkie Pie realizes that her family seems to be the exact same as they normally are. So she decides to question her mother and ask why she broke the Pinkie promise. Being in the same room with them, Limestone Pie overhears the conversation and says, Pinkie Mina, Mama was just covering up her own flank for making a promise to begin with. She wants to forget your idiotic party as much as the rest of us do. Okay, I based her on a mix of her muffin self and her canon self. Pinkie Pie starts crying and runs off to her room, resulting in Cloudy grounding Limestone. Fairy Cake even decides to pay her another visit, having witnessed the sonic rainbow herself. Naturally, she is concerned by the amount of bruises, cuts, and bandages on her youngest granddaughter, but Pinkie cheerfully explains that she went on an adventure and got hurt, but that she'll be more careful next time. At one point, Fairy asks if the girls know what pie sense is. Instead of Pinkie sense, I decided to make it a general pie sense, and not every sister or family member has it. And once I say no, she explains. Pinkie seems to be the only one that has it, as it apparently skipped over Cloudy Quartz. Little do they know, Minkie also had it, which is why she's able to spot lies. While Pinkie Pie is in the middle of baking colorful cupcakes for the ponies in their small village, Cloudy walks in on her and asks what she's doing. Okay, the reason I put in the Pinkie Promise stuff is because in, I believe, the last roundup, Pinkie was really upset over Applejack breaking a Pinkie Promise, so I wanted an origin for that. Not that it was necessary, but I wanted to add it anyway, so shut up. And after learning about her daughter's answer, Cloudy simply says, "Well, stop. The other villagers aren't going to appreciate something like this." Minkie asks her why, and after a failed attempt at discouraging her daughter, Cloudy suggests she bake something else, like rock soup or even pebble muffins. I believe rock soup was mentioned in Hearthbreakers, you know, that episode in season 5. But I'm pretty sure I made up pebble muffins, I don't know. Pinkie simply calls it boring, and Cloudy starts listing off the benefits of eating rocks, only to find out Pinkie wasn't even listening. After realizing her daughter's happy-go-lucky personality won't be going away anytime soon, Cloudy has a conversation with Igneous on what they should do with their youngest daughter. Igneous suggests the Forbidden Room, which is the basement that Minkie was put in, and Cloudy responds with, "Perhaps we should send her away to live with a community that will tolerate her actions. Pinkamena is not evil, like her. I think it would be a good idea for Pinkamena to live in a place where she can be happy, but at the same time not disrupting our ways of life." Surprisingly, Igneous agrees, asking where exactly Pinkie should be sent to and what family she'll be living with. Cloudy tells him, "You have a sister in Ponyville, do you not? We could send Pinkamena there." And like I said, the sister is Mrs. Cake. Having been spying, Maud notices this and decides to ask her about Minkie's disappearance. Silently panicking, Cloudy answers with, "That was just an imaginary friend you had when you were little." I don't remember that part. Once they tell their children about their final decision, Marble and Limestone grow to hate their parents, and Pinkie becomes depressed upon finding out she'll be separated from her sisters, which are basically her only friends at this point. Cloudy reminds Pinkie that she'll be able to make all the friends she wants in her new home, all unique and interesting and with their own strengths, and that the sisters can send letters back and forth. She explains that her Aunt Chiffon, aka Mrs. Cake, and her husband are bakers, and that they make more interesting treats than rock soup and pebble muffins, or as you would call them, boring. Finally, Pinkie reluctantly agrees and starts packing her very few things, Igneous taking her to Ponyville via train so Cloudy can stay behind and take care of the other foals. While on the train, Pinkie even starts softly crying, quickly turning to face the window so that her father doesn't notice. Holy shit, that's probably my longest summary. I promise that not all of them will be that long. It had been 7 years since Minkie Pie had been locked away by her mother, and unbeknownst to the poor teenage filly, she now had a silly and cheerful youngest sister, Pinkamena. As her name implied, she had bright pink fur. However, to her family's surprise, it had dulled in color over time, and they couldn't figure out why. Despite her appearance and her optimistic outlook on life, she acted like a good little foal to the best of her abilities. Igneous and Cloudy weren't particularly strict with her, since she was only 5. I thought she was 4, I don't care, man. She had a habit of wandering off, getting distracted by her surroundings. It didn't help that she wasn't allowed to farm rocks yet, as she was still too little. Marble and Limestone, however, were old enough. And I don't remember where I was going with that. By the way, the time skips in my stories are temporary. It's just like, that's only there if I want to, write a later scene. I can't do a Cloudy impression worth shit, so I won't. "Pinkamena, this is your Granny Pie," Cloudy announced, waving hoof toward the mare. I've already told you her name, so there's no need to... your name, so there's no need to introduce yourself. She last saw you when you were a baby. Each of the sisters maintained polite demeanors, all except for little Pinkamena, who seemed completely enamored with the pony who looked so much like her. She had pink fur, white swirly hair that resembled cupcake icing even down to the colorful sprinkles, and lavender eyes. She also had large round glasses, the frames being a light blue color. I forgot about her glasses. Don't fucking highlight. Noticing the shocked expression on her youngest granddaughter's face, Fairy Cake giggled softly, which was like music to the filly's ears.
It's nice to meet you properly, little one,
she chirped in her sweet, upbeat voice. I gave her the same voice as Rosie Quartz in actual muffins. Or at least something inspired, I don't know. It's been a while since I chose it.
I have a feeling you and I are going to have a lot of fun together.
Pinkamena couldn't help but smile at such an idea.
Wow!
She exclaimed, startling her family. Cloudy cleared her throat. She is going to be staying with us for a few days, so you girls better be on your best behavior, understand? And of course that's all I got for Chapter 2. Chapter 3, The Cupcake Chronicles. Oh, and this is my rain cloud redesign. Why did I make her a unicorn? In Ponyville, Pinkie meets her new parents and befriends both of them immediately. She also meets the Apple family, including Bright Mac and Buttercup, as well as a snooty, rich unicorn filly named Rarity and their class's new student, a shy Pegasus named Fluttershy. I can't remember my backstory for Rarity, but she does become no longer snooty. I can see her being snooty as a filly. Especially after her Cutie Mark backstory in the actual show. Mr. and Mrs. Cake finally introduced Pinkie to their secret illegal hobby of kidnapping ponies. Motherfucker, can you... tired of this. There's a secret illegal hobby of kidnapping ponies and turning them into pastries, explaining the rules to her in the process. This is where Pinkie learns that ponies are made of some fruit-like substance, just without seeds or peels, and that most ponies have different flavors. Not really understanding why killing ponies is so bad, she agrees to be their assistant in the hopes that one day the torture business will be passed down to her. At the end of the month, she's finally allowed to torture her first victim. A sad little unicorn filly by the name of Raincloud. I might give her a different name, I'm not sure. Her blood is the same teal color as her hair, and she tastes like mint chocolate chip ice cream. What are your guys' opinion on mint chocolate chip ice cream? I personally like it. A week later, Mr. Cake somberly hands Pinkie the morning newspaper with a headline that reads, "Beloved apple farmers killed in Timberwolf attack," and Pinkie immediately decides to check on Applejack to ask what happened when she gets to school, giving her friend her condolences. Granny Smith invites Pinkie over for dinner via Applejack the next day, where she gets to meet baby Applebloom. I don't believe Applebloom is a baker. I replaced her with another girl, which I still need to come up with a personality for. Originally, it was going to be Skulu, but I decided against it, since Skulu is a killer in another Muffins rewrite of mine. Applejack informs her that said baby has been crying a lot since the death of her parents. And Pinkie Pie is successful in making Applebloom laugh rather hard with her deflating and reinflating mane. At the end of the chapter, Fairy Cake takes Pinkie up to Cloudsdale, where they run into Beau Hothoof. That's Rainbow Dash's dad, if you don't remember, who takes them inside his house to introduce Pinkie to his wife and daughter. The reason I wrote this is because I felt that Pinkie would really get along with Rainbow Dash's parents. Little Rainbow Dash is annoyed by Pinkie, but Wendy Whistles becomes friends with her pretty much immediately. It had been a few days since Pinkie Pie moved to Ponyville, and why can't I fucking read today? And became Mr. and Mrs. Cake's assistant. They had been showing her the ways of business, and now she was confident enough that she could handle a real customer. And by business, I assume she means, like, Sugar Cube Corner rather than murder. It was just an ordinary day in Sugar Cube Corner. Pinkie sitting behind the register on a stool as Mr. Cake stood next to her, being on standby just in case she needed any help or did something wrong. That's when the first customer of the day entered the shop, a grayish-blue Pegasus stallion she had met the previous day, due to her overabundant friendliness and desire to greet every pony in town. His name was Bright Skies, and he remembered his short interaction with Pinkie quite fondly.
Welcome to Sugar Cube Corner!
The filly immediately blurted out. He walked up to the counter and smiled down at her. Obviously I can't do a man's voice, so. Oh gosh, I can't remember your name, kiddo. What was it? Pinkie Pie? The little baker giggled in amusement.
Yep, yep, yep. It's nice to see you again.
She chirped.
Let me know if you need any assistance with your shopping, Mr. Bright Skies.
Sorry if she sounds exactly the same as normal Pinkie Pie, because that's as high as I can go without pitching it up in Audacity. The stallion simply nodded, still smiling as he turned away from the counter and went to go browse some sweets. Meanwhile, Pinkie hummed the tune that she had recently made up. Even though it didn't have very many lyrics yet, she knew it was going to express her love for making ponies happy. And that is the Smile Song. Mrs. Cake shined her flashlight over a candle that had been placed on a metal table. Slowly walking up to it, Mr. Cake held the tip of his lit match against the wick, successfully lighting up a small portion of the room around him. The reason it's this short little sentence is because I want it to be part of a bigger paragraph. Minkie noticed the table, shaped like a capital I believe that is, in the middle of the room, with shackles attached to it and mysterious multicolored stains here and there. The table itself was standing straight up, but tilted back a bit. It had a handle on the side that presumably turned it from vertical to horizontal and vice versa. Next to the table was a doctor's cart with a metal tray on top, filled with various sharp medical tools and even building tools. She grinned, but not for the reason the Cakes were expecting.
These kind of look like my papa's tools.
She chirped.
You are secretly rock farmers, aren't you?
Okay, so Mrs. Cake's backstory is that she, ran away from the rock farm or something like that because she hated it, and Mr. Cake got bullied wherever he was living, so they came together and made the baking business. Mrs. Cake was at a loss for words, so her husband replied instead. Not quite. We use them to torture ponies.
Torture?
Pinkie asked. It was clear that she had never heard such a word before. Mr. and Mrs. Cake exchanged surprised glances, both of them processing the new information and silently trying to figure out how they should word their explanation.
Well,
Mrs. Cake said hesitantly.
To torture a pony is to hurt them on purpose, repeatedly, whether with your words or with tools like these. It makes the two of us happy.
Pinkie grinned wide, already excited.
I want to be happy too. Happy, happy, joy, joy.
She chirped, unaffected by such a disturbing explanation.
Can I look around?
Still processing the little pony's response, Mrs. Cake handed over her flashlight. Pinkie raised an eyebrow upon seeing how the room was decorated. It looked like a typical party, but something was off. The walls were dark gray stone. That's not how I spell gray anymore. And the floor was made of dirt. On the ceiling, dried entrails made to look like streamers fluttered about. I should mention that so you know that episode in the actual show where Pinkie has a party cave? That's canon to Muffins Remastered. It's on top of the murder basement. So ponies will think that oh, I've already found Pinkie's secret. No need to look further, haha. Brightly painted skulls of all sizes hung on the walls here and there, and painted organs filled with helium hung from the backs of chairs. It took Pinkie a moment to realize the organs were not balloons, for they were just as colorful. The bones and preserved flesh of long-dead ponies were used to make the tables and chairs. The table in question, located in the corner of the room, was round and had 4 full heads on it. Their eyes were closed and their mouths were stitched into smiles, and they wore party hats made from their own flesh. Above the table was a patchwork banner, made from more skin, and written on it was, "Life is a party," and more of that strange blood. Each letter was a different color.
I was inspired by your Granny Pie, my mother. She wasn't a killer, but her parties always brought me joy.
Mrs. Cake admitted. Yeah, as you can tell, I'm not the best at voicing her, because I just don't have much practice. Placing a hoof on Pinky's shoulder.
Of course, we're not bringing joy to our, guests, just ourselves. So it's kind of ironic, don't you think? Just like you, I grew up on the rock farm, and have been suggested to do so by my mother.
And having been suggested to do so,
I moved to Ponyville when I grew up. That's where I met Mr. Cake, who grew up being teased relentlessly in school. So, after learning about one another's troubles, we decided to start a little side business.
Pinky's gaze flitted to Mr. Cake when he started speaking. By the way, Pinky, there are some rules you have to follow if you want to work with us, he added. Number 1, don't tell a soul. The only exception to this rule is if you find some pony you're 100% sure is willing to work with you. If they're not, do everything in your power to get them to stay. Killing them is the last resort. Number 2, don't waste anything, if you can avoid it. Almost everything can be put to creative use. Number 3, don't let any pony go, no matter what they say to you. They may beg, bargain with, or even threaten you, but you can't let them go.
Why?
They'll tell some pony.
They'll tell some pony, and then we can't play anymore.
Mrs. Cake chimed in.
You don't want that, do you? Nope, risky.
Pinky snags Rain Cloud, and as the number system, a jar of papers, told her to. She reminds her of herself. Oh, I assumed Pinky mean a mode, I guess.
Just a heads up, ponies will scream and cry when you hurt them. You'll get used to it. Okie dokie Loki. I want to show you just how amazing pony blood tastes. Oh, I already know. Papa beat me up recently and I learned just how pretty and shiny my blood was, so I tasted it.
To her surprise, Mrs. Cake stared at her in shock. I forgot about this fucking line.
He what? What for?
We're not getting a rock, cutie mark.
To her surprise, I already said that. Mrs. Cake glared down at the ground.
That's nonsense, Pinky. Every pony...
What? Everyone? What's supposed to say every pony?
Every pony's cutie mark is beautiful,
She told her, and then muttered under her breath.
Igneous, I can't wait till your number is drawn.
I'll plan parties with my right hoof and pull numbers with my left. I'll take a cupcake and eat it.
Okay, diamond in the rough. Summary. Marble Pie has a dream about a dark-colored filly with a soothing voice. Okay, the reason I brought that up is because Raytana mentioned it in one of her videos before, that Marble might have a dream like that. So yeah, that was my inspiration. I don't think Marble would be able to remember that far back, but I don't know. Maybe subconsciously. Later that day, she earns her cutie mark with the same basic plot as Even Rocks Break. And by the same basic plot, I mean like, I don't know, not like a one-to-one rewrite, but just inspired by. But she and Limestone agreed to stop bottling up their emotions before the geode mark appears. Yeah, I will be placing cutie marks on screen as they pop up. At one point, the two sisters discover the door to the Disappointments room, which is the basement, only to be quickly shooed away from it by Cloudy Quartz and told to get back to work. Every now and then during the chapter, Marble complains about being unable to see things and that her vision is blurry. I figured since Cloudy has glasses that Marble should inherit them, but she hates them because she doesn't want to be like Cloudy Quartz, and so she wears contact lenses. It had been a few weeks since Pinkie Pie had been shipped off to Ponyville, and in that time, Igneous Rock and Cloudy Quartz returned to their previous ways of life, even becoming more strict and cold than they were before. Time skip. She then grabbed a particularly round rock. For fuck's sake, hold on. What? Huh? What are you talking about? Okay, so the funny thing is, I just got pie. Well, the ingredients to make a pie is just cherry filling and fucking whipped cream and stuff. Whatever. She then grabbed a particularly round rock from the ground, smashing it against the cave wall. To both her and Limestone's shock, the rock split along the middle, revealing many purple crystals inside. This immediately calmed Marble down, approaching the geode on the ground and picking it back up to inspect it. "Wow, this looks amazing," she breathed, which was her sister's cue to finally walk up to her. "I've never seen anything like it. I didn't know some rocks could have something like this inside. Did you?" Limestone took one of the rock halves to give it a closer look.
Yeah, Ma told me about it. I can't remember what it was called. I didn't care much about the explanation I got because I didn't believe they were real.
She replied.
We'll have to ask Mama and Papa what it is. And hey, you know what? This rock reminds me of you. There's so much more to you than meets the eye.
Marble smiled sadly, but she soon frowned, a guilty look on her face. Hold on, I'm gonna take a bite.
It's also tough to break, but it'll get there eventually, just like I did.
She muttered pitifully.
Maybe we shouldn't hide our emotions from our parents anymore. I see now that bottling everything up is bad.
Motherfucker, why is there a fly in here? And it's one of the little bitch ones, the tiny ones. Gnats? I don't even know if those are baby flies. That's just always what I've assumed.
I see now that bottling everything up is bad. It's all gonna come out sooner or later, whether I wanted to or not.
She sighed, meeting her sister's gaze.
You know, I don't tell you this enough, but I love you, Limestone.
Limestone grinned, almost cheekily.
I love you too, sis,
she cooed. All of a sudden, there was another flash that illuminated the cave, but this one was dimmer and didn't come from a rock.
Marble! Your flank! Look at your flank!
Limestone cried out, a wide grin on her face. Marble looked down to see a heart-shaped geode half for a cutie mark, purple to match her eyes.
My cutie mark!
She exclaimed in delight.
Maybe now Mama and Papa will stop treating me like a baby. I hope so too. I'm so proud of you, Marble.
Limestone chirped.
I think you're right though. You are damn scary when you're mad. Show that rage to Mama and Papa and they'll never hit us again.
Marble giggled softly. Who is texting me? And she shook her head.
That's not a good idea. If we get loud and always speak our minds, we'll just get hit all the time, she explained. We need to find something in between the way you were doing things and the way I was doing things. If we fight too hard, we'll just be more miserable.
Okay, my head hurts right now, so I'm gonna pick this up later. Alright, I'm back. I don't know how much of this I'll show. Probably the whole thing. I mean, I don't know, why not? Okay. Limestone Pie earns her cutie mark. By the way, it's like 3 a.m., so if I sound a little tired, that's why. Limestone Pie earns her cutie mark during the same basic plot as All That Glitters, including the death of Granny Pie, whose last words are in a letter on the nightstand. She believes she isn't going to make it and signs it with, "Always keep smiling. Sincerely, your beloved Granny." Once again, Limestone earns her cutie mark before she knows what her destiny is. Instead of just telling them about the miser's treasure, Granny Pie also gives them a map of rock country that will lead them to Ponyville. Sorry, I need to clean my glasses. Where the fuck was I? The final scene of the chapter is Igneous Rock sending a letter to his sister, Mrs. Cake, to inform her of Pinkie of Fairy Cake's passing. Because in the original Muffins, I always thought it was weird how Pinkie Pie was just never informed of the death of their grandmother. Upon hearing the news, Pinkie's hair deflates and she feels guilty about not being there for Granny Pie or her sisters. And there's the glasses thing I mentioned earlier. I don't feel like reading it. Poetic Justice. I'm still proud of this title, you know, and I'm sure you'll see why in a second. Nobody cares about what hairstyles they're wearing. Yeah, so this is about Maud Pie getting her cutie mark. She got it for writing a poem, and I headcanon that, like, her thing is books and writing poems and stuff. And, of course, you know that the Pie parents aren't really happy about their children getting cutie marks that don't relate to rocks. Again, I don't feel like reading it out, so here it is on screen, and you can write it. I especially don't feel like doing Pinkie Pie's voice. A sunny disposition. I believe there's another time skip here, and yeah, the Summer Sun Celebration. I wrote some of the chapters to, like, fit alongside the canon episodes. Like, for example, this is episode 1, I believe. The Summer Sun Celebration arrives, and Pinkie is very excited to help with the baking and decorations. However, she gets distracted by a new arrival and her talking dragon and decides to throw a miniature party to welcome them both to town, even announcing that Mrs. Cake is pregnant to every pony there. Now, this was decided before I gave Mr. and Mrs. Cake different kids, because I kind of hate the Cake twins, honestly. I'll pop my headcanon up on screen. It had been a few years since Maud Pie got her cutie mark, and in that time, she had grown more and more distant toward Igneous Rock and Cloudy Quartz. Okay, I can just specify parents. Her parents. Being so fed up with them constantly finding new ways to punish them in return, that she simply got bored and began to tune them out. Her sisters, meanwhile, had grown more and more aggressive and stopped letting their parents push them around, though they expressed their anger in different ways. Marble was more confident in her abilities and often contemplated before she acted, but Limestone operated purely on anger, having unfiltered outbursts and shouting whatever was on her mind. Even leaving hoof-shaped holes in the drywall and throwing things at her mother and father. She nor Marble no longer cared about the lesson they had learned when Marble got her cutie mark, as the two of them and Maud were all bigger and stronger now, and their parents were getting up there in years. During those few years, Pinkie Pie continued to work with Mr. and Mrs. Cake in Ponyville, perfecting her business practices and killing more and more ponies. Her party-throwing abilities and general charm had allowed her to make many a friend, but she didn't keep them for long. After all, she still needed her special ingredient, which would allow her to make even more friends. On her 16th birthday, the Cakes felt that she was ready to have the business passed down to her, choosing to retire as serial killers. Even when Pinkie reached adulthood, they didn't kick her out of the bakery, knowing such a decision would cause more harm than good for various reasons. Thus, I don't know why I specified this, even though I just said that. Thus, she was still living at Sugarcoop Corner, living her mostly mundane little life. And then there's that one scene from the episode, reference clip, I believe that's the party? And, yeah. Chapter 8, Love at First Bite. I can't remember what this one is about. Okay, I believe, yeah, that's my version of Still a Burst. She's always struck me as more of a unicorn than a Pegasus. Strengthen it a little bit. While visiting the rock farm, Pinkie Pie teaches her sisters, Marble, Limestone, and Maud, about the murder business. All of them are still teenagers. Okay, it just said Pinkie was 18, but whatever. I don't know, man. I don't care. I don't feel like fixing anything right now. Their first victim is insert Earth Pony Philly here, while Pinkie supervises. A few weeks pass, and the three sisters work alone. Their newest victim is Stella Burst, also a teenager, who is originally from Kennerlock, but just visiting Rock Country because she has an interest in jewels and minerals. Being new to the business, Marble screws things up in the same way as before, but now the context makes more sense. At one point, Limestone gets jealous of Stella's beauty and almost cries, so her sisters comfort her. Stella is surprised to see their compassion after being so sadistic with their victim, and offers to help them like in the original story. I'm not sure if I'm gonna go with Marble actually going like full lesbian for Stella Burst, or just make her like a regular victim. I don't know yet. Wait, why is there 2 chapter 8s? I assume I was switching things around and that's why... Okay. This chapter is supposed to come latest. Because I believe this is the Gilda story? Okay, let me name this 8. And this 7. There we go. And I know there's still 2 8s, but I don't care. After Rainbow Dash cuts ties with Gilda, Pinkie convinces her to track down the Griffin and bring her to Sugar Cube Corner on the promise of Dash making up with her, so she can throw Gilda a different kind of party. At the end of the chapter, there's a scene where Trixie Lulamoon meets Igneous Rock and Cloudy Quartz and tries to convince them that she's not a witch, but rather a unicorn, and is simply in search of a job. Yeah, I think I got this headcanon from a joke comic where they thought some unicorn, probably Twilight, was a witch. So I can see that happening if most, if not all, ponies are Earth ponies in Rock Country, and Pegasi would be considered angels. I'm not really sure what they thought about Granny Pie. I don't know. Time skip. Cut off wings, cut out tongue for being a meanie mouth, aka swearing and verbal abuse.
You know, I really wish I had a friend with me here while I worked.
Pinkie said absent-mindedly.
And I don't mean on the table, I mean a fellow baker. Mr. and Mrs. Cake don't really kill ponies anymore, so we haven't gotten the chance to do it together for a long time. Not since I was a teenager, when they were showing me the ropes.
I assume she's 18 here? Because in original Muffins, I believe she's stated to be 19. Like in the Baker's sexuality video, not in actual Muffins. Unable to respond, Gilda merely shook her head, avoiding the party pony's gaze.
What's wrong, Gilda? Are you not having fun with me? I was really hoping you would. You don't want to make me sad, do you? Or mad?
This is Trixie meeting the parents. I don't feel like reading all that. Motherfucker, can you scroll? And I can't do Trixie's voice worth the shit, so I'm still looking for a voice actor for that. Biddy party. Okay. Yeah, originally this was about Apple Bloom becoming a baker, but I don't know, it doesn't really fit the context anymore if Apple Bloom's not a baker, so... I mean, Apple Bloom and Muffins never really fit as a baker to begin with, so... Plus, I don't really care about Apple Bloom in general, so I figured it'd just be easier to make an OC. But I'm gonna read this anyway because I like it. Pinkie is delighted to witness 2 fillies by the name of Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo stand up for Apple Bloom at Diamond Tiara's quinceañera. contemplating recruiting the yellow filly as her baking assistant, as she reminds her of herself. After the party, the two of them proceed to torture and kill Twist together. As you saw, Twist is one of the cake children, so she's not gonna end up dying. And Apple Bloom is disappointed that such a gruesome act didn't get her a cutie mark. There's a scene at the end of the chapter where Trixie, now wearing a bun in her mane, tries to adjust to living and working on the rock farm, but she makes the mistake of asking the Pie Sisters about their upbringing, which Limestone gets annoyed by. Marvel ends up giving her a few details, though very vague, and they work together to tell her their plan to leave Rock Country. Okay, sometimes you'll see this, but most of the time I just can't be asked.
Hey, Apple Bloom, have you ever baked cupcakes before?
Pinkie Pie had said. That was a sentence that would change the filly's life forever. Pinkie had just brought her into the kitchen of Sugar Cube Corner and was now in the process of setting up her baking implements, cleaning dishes, and setting ingredients on the counter. There were still decorations and empty food trays from the party that had ended mere minutes ago.
I wonder if I could get a cutie mark on eating cupcakes.
Apple Bloom commented. To her confusion, Pinkie giggled at her.
They're not made yet, silly.
She chirped.
You're gonna help me with them. Oh, Pinkie, I don't know how to bake.
Apple Bloom protested. My throat is fucked up right now. I don't know why. I haven't been talking, or maybe that's the problem. I don't know. Apple Bloom protested, audibly disappointed.
Applejack doesn't let me use the oven. She said it's too dangerous for a little filly like me or something like that.
I don't know if you noticed, but my Apple Bloom impression is actually based on how she sounds like in Muffins rather than her canon voice. That was accidental, and I'm trying to make it sound more like her actual canon voice. So if she sounds kind of nasally, that's why. I'm not good at it yet. At that moment, Pinkie finished getting out all the ingredients from her cabinets. So she turned to Apple Bloom and shook her head.
No. This stuff is for me once we're done.
She explained.
I'll be the one working the oven, so you don't have to worry.
This only confused Apple Bloom further, but before she could say anything, Pinkie noticed her facial expression and piped up.
1 second.
She then trotted over to the kitchen door and looked around to see if any pony outside was watching. Apple Bloom watched as the party pony frantically looked around the ground floor of the bakery for any pony who could peek in, and when she was done, she returned to the filly, still standing by the counter, and said,
Follow me.
Sorry if I peek the mic sometimes. I can't really help it. I'm trying to remember to, when I do Pinkie Pie's voice and Apple Bloom to, back up away from the mic. She led her to her bedroom, opening up the compartment for the long slide that led her to the party cave.
Wow, I never knew you had all this.
Squeaked Apple Bloom in delight once they reached the floor. Pinkie allowed her to take it all in, watching her walk around the room, examining everything. At one point, she walked up to one of the teal filing cabinets and inquired,
What's in all these cabinets?
Pinkie bounced over to her and opened the bottom drawer, pulling out a large binder and flipping it to the first page.
They're for different stuff, but this binder right here is for every pony in town.
She explained.
It's the most important thing in here.
Why is that underlined? Oh, shut up. On the first page, there is a photo of a Pegasus stallion that Apple Bloom didn't recognize, and underneath was his name, his age, a description of his cutie mark, and his address, as well as his party-related likes and dislikes. She flipped to the next page to see the same thing again, but for a different pony, this time a light purple unicorn mare. Apple Bloom didn't know much about her, just that her name was Sea Swirl.
I'm guessing this is for party planning stuff?
She said softly, and Pinkie nodded.
But why do you need their addresses? Don't parties usually get thrown to Sugar Cube Corner? You'll see.
Pinkie cooed. I'm tempted to make Apple Bloom a baker again. I don't know, I just feel like it's the easiest option. Plus, I really like how this chapter came out, so I don't want to let it go to waste or anything. Something about the way she had said that made a chill run down Apple Bloom's spine, but she followed the mare over to the farthest corner of the room and watched her knock down a large pile of colorfully wrapped decorative gifts. Why am I fucking up reading so much? It's pissing me off as much as it's pissing you off. Revealing a hidden metal door.
This leads to my other party room, but it's a different kind of party.
Pinkie said calmly, motioning for Apple Bloom to come forward before pushing open the door. It was incredibly dark down there, which made Apple Bloom nervous.
Is there a lot?
She asked. Pinkie grinned as she pulled a flashlight out of her mane.
There's a light switch down there.
She answered, her tone of voice returning to normal.
But for now, we can use this flashlight so we don't fall down the stairs.
Without waiting for an answer, she flicked on the flashlight, holding it in her mouth and trotting down the stairs. And then she tells Apple Bloom about the baking.
You were behind all the missing ponies?
Apple Bloom squeaked in shock. Pinkie Pie nodded enthusiastically, proud of her work.
Yep, the old Wendy Patriots that I sold up in the shop.
She explained.
So basically, every pony in town is a cannibal and doesn't even know it. Even you. Isn't that crazy? And our species isn't even meant to eat meat.
Apple Bloom shook her head and admitted.
Well, to be honest, I didn't expect you of all ponies to be capable of kidnapping some pony anyway. You seem so nice. That's what makes it so fun.
Pinkie chirped.
No pony would ever suspect the sweet little Pinkie Pie is behind all the Ponyville disappearances.
Well, not all of them, because, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Cake.
And perhaps,
She wrapped an arm around the filly.
darling little Apple Bloom?
The filly furrowed her brow in worry, unsure if she should pull away or not.
But Applejack always told me that killing is bad. Like, really bad.
She protested.
Ain't that the case here too?
I feel like I'm kind of off with Apple Bloom's voice. She keeps getting too high-pitched. Pinkie giggled in response.
Like the cakes always told me, it's only bad if you get caught.
Yeah, so my characterization of the bakers is different. Like, for instance, Pinkie doesn't really understand that, like, she's being evil here. I'm sure she kind of understands a little bit, but, like, she always wants to, like, bake cupcakes and make ponies smile and all that shit.
And obviously, I haven't gotten caught yet because I know what I'm doing. Think about Diamond's hair and Silver Spoon. Aren't they meanie faces to you and the other ponies at school? It's for the greater good.
Yeah, see, it's for the greater good. That's her whole goal.
Yeah, they are mean to us.
Apple Bloom pondered her words for a moment.
If I were to become your assistant, would you be willing to teach me all you know?
She asked slowly, raising an eyebrow.
I don't want to head into this being all naive and stuff and then I get caught immediately. I'd be the worst murderer baker of all time. Where's the fun in that?
Pinkie grinned wide, pleasantly surprised that this filly was willing to join her.
Of course!
She answered.
Plus, you might even get your cutie mark in baking one day. Isn't that exciting?
Apple Bloom's eyes lit up at the mention of cutie marks.
Wow, you're right! I never thought of that. I'm sold.
Okay, so I think I will make Apple Bloom a baker again. I don't want her to get her cutie mark in killing Applejack, because first of all, that's stupid, and second of all, I have a plan for Applejack. And Apple Bloom, now that I think about it. Pinkie giggled once more and replied,
Okie dokie Loki. So, any questions?
Apple Bloom looked over at the torture table, still perplexed by it.
What do you do exactly to turn them into cupcakes?
She asked.
Is it a transformation spell? A potion? Does Twilight help you with it?
Or Zecora. I keep forgetting Zecora exists.
Or Zecora?
Pinkie followed her eyes before bouncing over to said table.
I'm glad you asked, my new assistant. A good assistant is always thorough and doesn't leap blindly into things without having all the information.
Okay. Yeah, the reason I put this here is because it's the end of the scene, so... But I also put it there when the entire thing is, so that's why I put that in here, so I don't forget.
I'll try to be a good assistant then. I know you will.
Repairing broken chains. This is a longer chapter, so I don't feel like reading at all. Summary. While Pinkie is on another visit to the rock farm with Mr. and Mrs. Cake, she encourages her sisters to break into their parents' bedroom. I can't remember if they're teenagers or adults here. Asking the Cakes to serve as a distraction for their parents and Maud, where they discovered the secret room. After failing to open the lock on their forbidden door, Marble even attempts to pick it at one point, they request Limestone's help and she successfully breaks it down by simply bucking through it until it breaks. They discover their long-lost sister Minkie Pie, who refuses to talk and seems to be terrified of other ponies. As she seems to have some sort of unexpected attachment to Marble, she decides to hide with Minkie in the outdoor cellar, where they would sometimes retrieve and deliver homemade jams for their mother and tools for their father. That stupid moon icon is in the way, so I can't really scroll. It's ass. I will pop my Minkie Pie design on screen if I haven't already. I've changed her fucking design so much. I've even got a redesign in mind. They then inform the Cakes in the meantime, who are appalled that Minkie didn't actually die of a terminal illness as a filly, and confront their parents, this time with Pinkie and the Cakes thrown into the mix. Maud, of course, gets noticeably pissed off because she was made to believe that Minkie was an imaginary friend. She thinks back on her childhood, and is upset to realize that not just Minkie believed that she was... That not just Minkie... Sorry, what? Not just Minkie believed that she was the problem child, but that her other sisters are afraid of her status among the family. Ignace and Cloudy don't have any worthwhile explanation or excuse for any of these things, and Maud declares that she doesn't love her parents anymore. One by one, the other sisters agree, Minkie even stating that she hates them. Of course everyone else is shocked, but Mrs. Cake soon agrees as well. Cloudy tries to manipulate Minkie, Mother Gothel style, and Minkie almost falls for it, but Mrs. Cake smacks her sister-in-law in the face, pointing out her behavior. The Pie parents run off into the field to bury themselves in work, and Mr. and Mrs. Cake suggest his sisters come with them to live in Ponyville. Again, I don't really feel like reading this, so it's on screen. Yeah, you can read all that. God, I read a lot. Holy shit. Like I said, there might be little inconsistencies here and there in the lore, and that's because I changed some shit and then just don't feel like fixing everything because, again, there's like 40 chapters here, and I don't have a co-writer. Well, I kind of do, but she hasn't gone to work yet. I've only shared one chapter with her. Introduced to society. Summary. A few days after her sisters moved to Ponyville, Pinkie Pie goes to Golden Oak Library and asks Twilight to round up the rest of their friends, telling Applejack to bring a basket full of apples. Naturally, the sisters all end up loving the apples, having never tasted something so sweet before.
You think that's sweet? Wait till you try my cupcakes.
After Pinkie tells her sisters about Rarity's business, Marble decides it's time for Minkie to get a haircut, which makes the mayor nervous. So Limestone tells her to relax and that haircuts don't hurt. Pinkie even saying that Rarity was able to tame her crazy mane and tail. After the sisters each get a haircut, while Applebloom is in the middle of doing homework, Minkie sits down next to her and watches her work out mouth problems, the filly awkwardly trying to make her small talk. And I don't feel like reading this either. Fucking Asmoon shit. Oh, I could have just done that the whole fucking time. Are you kidding me? I'm pretty sure Trixie is here by now. Like I said, I can't really do a Minkie impression. I can't really do Spike either, but I can do the main six and the Cutie Mark Crusaders, but I don't believe the Cutie Mark Crusaders show up here aside from Applebloom. Twilight noticed the voices as well, opening the door with her magic from across the room before any pony could knock. I assume it's Twilight?
Hello, girls.
Various greetings from the ponies rang out, and as soon as every pony settled in, Twilight finally decided to ask,
So, Pinkie, who are your new friends?
Twilight's probably my weakest of my main six impressions.
They're my sisters. Marble, Limestone, Maud, and Minkie.
I thought you only had 3 sisters.
Appleloon said the same thing. It's a long story.
So, where are you girls from? Some stupid, boring village that no pony cares about.
What she means by that is, it's probably not a good time to talk about that just yet.
Gosh, I remember when Pinkie Pie first came to Ponyville. That was so long ago. I can't imagine what it must be like to reunite with her. What are you doing?
Rainbow Dash finally piped up. The other girls looked over to see Minkie Pie petting the Pegasus's mane, completely enamored with its appearance, since she had never seen anything like it. Marble quickly trotted over to them.
Minkie, sweetie,
she said gently, carefully pulling her sister's hoof down and setting it on the floor.
We're not supposed to touch strangers without permission.
She met Rainbow Dash's eyes.
Sorry about that. She doesn't understand social norms just yet. Let's just say she had a different upbringing.
Dash wordlessly furrowed her brow and nodded in understanding. She then cantered away from the 2 sisters, standing in between Twilight and Applejack. They start talking about haircuts.
Am I the only one who thinks Pinkie's sisters are
super weird?
I was going to say unique. I feel bad for them. After Marble mentioned that Minkie had a different upbringing, it made me want to just wrap her up in a snuggly quilt and make her some tea.
If Minkie had a different upbringing, surely the other sisters did too, right? Or do you think Minkie was singled out by their parents? She was literally petting my mane. She didn't understand social norms, so maybe she was singled out. Pinkie's always had some sort of issues, so I don't put it past him.
I think we should stop talking about this. It's not right to talk about a pony behind their back, especially about something so personal.
You're right,
Rarity chimed in.
Plus, they're surely expecting me at the boutique by now. See you girls later.
I'm not sure how good I am at Rarity's voice. I genuinely can't tell if I'm subconsciously doing the Muffins voice or her canon voice, because I haven't really heard much of either. As she trotted toward the door, the sound of her friends bidding her farewell rang out. There's the stupid haircut thing. I don't care. Yeah. Okay.
I trust that Rarity knows what she's doing, Maud said. She did tame Pinkie's mane and tail after all.
Do I do a good Maud impression? What do you think? I mean, it's hard not to just do my actual voice.
Marble and Limestone were telling me that they and their sisters used to live on a rock farm.
Applejack, Fluttershy, and Rainbow Dash immediately looked at Twilight for the answer, who simply shrugged.
Never heard of it. Neither had I, but apparently it's exactly what it sounds like. There was also a lot of religion involved.
Yeah, like in Muffins, it's based on Christianity? Or it seems to be. That's the impression that I get anyway.
I remember Apple Bloom mentioning something about Pinkie living on a rock farm, but at the time I assumed one of them was just joking. It was the day we learned that we all saw the same sonic rainbow when we were fillies.
I'm just curious as to why she told the Cutie Mark Crusaders that story, but not us.
I guess it makes sense. Pinkie and Apple Bloom gotten closer and closer over the years. She met my sis when she was just a baby.
I mean, we didn't even know about the Rainbow Connection thing until recently. There's probably tons of things Pinkie's hiding from us. We shouldn't push her about any of it. If she doesn't want to tell us anything, then she doesn't have to.
Fluttershy over here being a goody two-shoes.
Marple also mentioned that they didn't have the best parents. Same wording and everything. She even went out of her way to point out Maud's unusual demeanor.
I'm pretty sure that's just autism.
Oh, I feel even worse for them.
Rainbow Dash let a heavy sigh.
Okay, good. I'm glad some pony finally mentioned Maud. I just didn't want to be mean.
Yeah, same here. It makes you wonder how Pinkie is so cheerful all the time.
And her sisters just aren't.
Maybe Pinkie's hiding something.
Home is where the pie is. I don't remember this one either. Marble decides to finally ask Pinkie if she still kills ponies, so Pinkie leads them, as well as Trixie, to her secret basement. Minkie being completely terrified to go to the basement at first. And since they kill a pony around the same time every 2 or 3 weeks, she asks if they want to work on a project that day. To her surprise, they say yes, and Pinkie tells them to pick out a binder on the shelf, asking which pony is next. It's not really a surprise. Although Minkie has started speaking a little bit around the other bakers, she's still completely silent when Roseluck is being tortured. At one point, the fish hook game from Minkie Pie's turn occurs, and even becomes frightened at the amount of screaming. As Marble Pie is calming her down, she asks Minkie if she wants to put something over Roseluck's mouth, and she agrees. Marble and Limestone had used their gold nugget to purchase a home down the street from Sugarcube Corner, where they, Maud, Minkie, and Trixie would all live. Pinkie Pie told them about it, having killed the family that previously lived there. They had been missing for quite some time and later pronounced dead, so everything in the house had either been given to family or sold in the marketplace. There were enough bedrooms so none of the Pies had to share. Marble, Limestone, and Maud were quick to find jobs in town, but the other two chose to remain unemployed for the time being. Maud's room was, of course, all about rocks, gemstones, and minerals. She had several shelves with various stones and gems she had collected from both outside and gift shops. Most of the time, she didn't wash the rocks she picked up, appreciating them in their natural beauty, as she put it. She even wrote the artificial rocks in the dirt to make them look more authentic. On one section of her wall, she had a few mining tools perfectly perched. Yeah, I plan to describe the other bedrooms too, but this is all the ideas I have. The decor of Minkie Pie's room was all over the place, as she had grabbed whatever piqued her interest, which was damn near everything. Posters, furnitures, figurines, and decorations relating to fashion, instruments, nature, robots, outer space, etc. She didn't care that none of it matched, as all of it fascinated her, and she wanted to admire it every day. The only thing she avoided were rocks and mining, as they only provided bad memories. Time skip. And then there's Marble flirting with someone to get more money. Is this the Sonic Rainbow one? Scootaloo. Yeah, this was back when Scootaloo was still a baker. And I can't be asked to change it. Minkie Pie tells Apple Bloom that she's finally ready to meet Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo, who end up recruiting her as a 4th Cutie Mark Crusader. Rainbow Dash joins the Best Young Flyers competition, and as a result, Minkie and Scootaloo see a... Hold on. Yeah, I guess the Cutie Mark Crusaders wouldn't have seen a Sonic Rainbow yet. It tells Apple Bloom and Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo, Minkie and Apple Bloom. And as a result, Minkie and Apple Bloom see a Sonic Rainbow for the first time and become giddy about it for the rest of the day. Minkie even smiles and starts talking a bit more than usual, admitting to the other bakers that she wants to draw the rainbow so she can remember it forever, but can't remember which order the colors go in. Pinkie, having seen 2 rainbows in her lifetime, offers to help her out. Apple Bloom decides to draw a rainbow of her own, but as she's memorized the order of a rainbow, she doesn't need any help with it. Minkie becomes discouraged when she sees how much better Apple Bloom's rainbow looks. After a while, Pinkie takes her eldest sister flying. Okay, this was when I had a brief phase where I wanted to redesign all the main 6, and Pinkie Pie was a Pegasus, so I'm gonna change that to Fluttershy. Fluttershy takes Minkie flying. Because Derpy does exist in this universe, but she's the background character, and she acts more like her canon self than anything. And she doesn't talk like a fucking idiot, so... God damn it, okay. Just gonna copy.
I still don't know if this is a good idea. I think you'll be okay.
Apple Bloom whispered.
Come on, let's go inside already.
And with that, she finally opened the clubhouse door and stepped inside.
Girls, I'd like you to meet some pony,
she announced, gesturing with her hoof to invite Minkie inside.
This is Pinkie Pie's big sister Minkie. She is real shy, so it might take her a while to open up to us. Most importantly, though...
She gently turned Minkie to the side by pushing her back legs, revealing her lack of a cutie mark. The other fillies both grinned, quickly getting to their hooves and trotting up to the new guests. Scootaloo was the first to speak.
Wow, I didn't know adult ponies could be blink flanks.
Sweetie Belle grinned wider upon a sudden realization, meeting her leader's eyes.
Do you think we should recruit her?
She asked.
I can make her a cape. I've been wanting a new member. And an adult member? How cool is that?
We could sneak into so many movie theaters.
We could sneak into so many movie theaters.
Minkie was surprised by the praise, having expected to be mocked for having no cutie mark at her age. Apple Bloom took a few steps closer to the other Crusaders.
Sure, we could recruit her. What do you think, Scootaloo? Heck yeah!
The Pegasus cried, before turning to face the mayor in the room. Yeah, I guess that makes sense for Scootaloo.
Do you want to join our group, Minkie?
The baker in question curiously looked between the three fillies, her heart warming ever so slightly at their excited faces. She then glanced around the room, becoming excited herself to have a clubhouse for the first time. Finally, she once again looked at Applebloom, giving her a small smile and a single nod. All at once, the Cutie Mark Crusaders began squealing in delight, jumping up and down as they shouted indistinctly over each other. The loud, sudden noise startled Minkie, but she couldn't help but smile at the three adorable fillies. Applebloom, motherfucker, can you bold that shit when I want you to?
I'll never get this right.
It's alright, Minkie. I've had more practice with drawing than you have, so you're not gonna be good at it right away.
What is practice?
Oh, basically just trying something over and over until you get better at it. Depending on how hard it is to do, it might take a while.
Sorry, I'm very particular when it comes to hick dialogue.
Yeah, tell you what, I can help you. I've seen 2 rainbows in my life, and one of them gave me my cutie mark. So obviously I've memorized what they look like.
Oh, this scene, I forgot about this. Minkie Pie had just arrived at the Ponyville schoolhouse, having been escorted by her youngest sister since she didn't know the way there. Right as the final bell rang for the day, Pinkie began humming cheerfully as she skipped away, and the school children began filing out of the building one by one. Despite the crowd being small and unthreatening, it still made Minkie nervous. So she felt relieved when she saw 3 familiar faces pop out of the doorway and run to come greet her. Sweetie Belle was the first to speak.
Hi, Minkie. I didn't know you were going to come pick us up today.
She sounds like Pinkie Pie. She frowned.
Did something happen? No, I just had the idea to, since we're all friends now.
Minkie managed to force out, though her voice was audibly timid and strained. Strained, not strange. Sweetie Belle and Applebloom were surprised to hear her voice. Okay, that's Scootaloo. Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo were surprised to hear her voice, having remembered that Applebloom said she was very shy. At that moment, a pink filly with a TR cutie mark walked over to them, a pony that Minkie had never seen before, but that her friends were all too familiar with. The smug look on her face and her condescending voice told Minkie that this stranger thought she was the best thing since sliced bread.
Wow, look at that. The cutie mark crybabies have made a new friend.
I'm not really all that great at Diamond Tiara's voice. Minkie was unsure of what to say, but her new friends weren't, quickly standing in front of her in a horizontal line as they glared at their classmate.
What do you want, Diamond Tiara?
Grumbled Scootaloo in a flat, unamused voice. The other filly's grin widened when she noticed that Minkie Pie was wearing the signature Cutie Mark Crusader cape.
What? Did you somehow steal her cutie mark from her to force her to join your little club? Or was she already a loser grown up with no mark to begin with?
Applebloom became particularly defensive, pulling her ears back.
Ponies without cutie marks aren't losers, regardless of how old they are.
She spat.
In fact, they're full of potential, and they still have the excitement of figuring out who they're supposed to be. Even know that if you just stepped outside your little bubble every once in a while.
Diamond Tiara giggled evilly, satisfied that she had gotten a rise out of the leader of the group.
That's no way to set an example for your club members, Your Majesty. What would the newbie think of you doing that if I wasn't here to step in?
God, all these fucking high-pitched voices are really killing me here.
Don't you have something more interesting to do than be mean to every pony?
Sweetie Belle inquired.
I mean, you're rich. You could be halfway across Equestria right now.
Scootaloo gave her a sign of agreement, then chimed in.
And the only reason I haven't told Rainbow Dash on you and Silver Spoon is for your safety, not ours.
Applebloom took a deep breath in an attempt to calm her anger from before.
Applejack, too.
She exclaimed. Sweetie Belle was quick to add.
And Rarity. She gets really scary when she's mad.
That was the strangest sound I've ever made. Sounded like a drowning possum.
Why? Can none of you get your parents to fight your battles?
Cooed Diamond Tiara.
Oh, that's right. All of them ran away from you when they saw what they had to deal with. Applebloom, you must have been particularly heinous since your mom and dad willingly flung themselves at timber wolves. And Scootaloo, get a grip. Rainbow Dash isn't even your real sister.
I don't believe Diamond Tiara knows about anything that happened on the rock farm. I mean, she would really have no reason to. And my thing needs to be charged. Sweetie Belle, having been affected the least, let out a guttural growl of rage, but her two friends were at a loss for words. That's when Minkie gave Diamond Tiara a wide, unnatural grin that visibly made her falter, and as the Crusaders were still turned away from her, the mayor, they were confused that Sweetie Belle's unintentional technique had worked.
You know what? I think I hear my father calling me.
Diamond Tiara said quickly before turning on her heel and trotting back over to the crowd of dispersing fillies and colts. Despite their sadness and anger, the Crusaders turned to face Minkie, exhausted smiles on their faces.
I didn't think that would work,
said Sweetie Belle.
It didn't. I smiled at her.
Minkie corrected. Me? What the fuck do you mean, me? Who's me? The fillies were obviously bewildered by this, so she showed them her grin from before, which made their stomachs drop.
That explains why she ran away.
Sweetie Belle giggled nervously.
Don't worry about her, Minkie Pie. We'll stand up for you. Once a Crusader, always a Crusader.
Scootaloo had to admit to herself that, that's Applebloom. Applebloom had to admit to herself that she was impressed by her fellow baker's ability to look so scary. She figured it would be a useful technique in the future.
Besides, if she ever gets the best of you, you know what to do.
She said, and shot Minkie a wink. The mayor winked back, resulting in Scootaloo and Sweetie Belle exchanging confused glances. The yellow filly.
Right, should we go then?
Continued the yellow filly, and the other three nodded.
Since I don't have any homework today, I'm gonna follow Minkie to Sugar Cube Corner.
I don't know if that's the end or not, so I'm just gonna not add these marks. Oh, I'm tired. It's 4 a.m. God damn it. When the balloons pop. Pinkie Pie's birthday. I'm pretty sure Canon's birthday is May 3rd. But whatever. July 17th lines up with my timeline, so fuck you. Pinkie Pie's birthday arrives, and Minkie is excited to celebrate a party for the first time. The potted party of one takes place with the other bakers thrown in. They attempt to throw a party for her while her other friends are avoiding her, though in reality, they're attempting to throw a party as well. A surprise party. Aside from Applebloom... Motherfucker. Applebloom. Aside from Applebloom, who tries desperately to comfort Pinkie and gets her to talk to the other main six. Or at least Applejack. The other bakers aren't used to caring for her and thus don't know how to comfort her. Of course, Scootaloo, Apple Bloom and Trixie have never seen Pink Amina and are obviously concerned for her, thinking she might hurt herself. So the Pie Sisters, save from Minkie, explain that their sister used to be like this all the time, and that they aren't sure how to fix things. Rainbow Dash stops by Sugar Cube Corner and asks her to come to Sweet Apple Acres. What do you mean you haven't celebrated? Apple Bloom. Minkie Pie asking when a birthday is. Okay, I'm tired, so I'm gonna pick this up next time.